they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning and welcome to episode 855 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee is strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and it's September 15th, 2025. This morning I'm enjoying a fresh cup of light Costa Rican from foodforestfarms.com because life's too short for shitty coffee. At Food Forest Farms, your beans are roasted by real human hands using a clean stream air roaster. More than just a customer, your family. Get 10% off with code LOTS10. That's LOTS10. And the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out the C4 Club for even more awesome perks. Today, we've got another busy show. We're going to be talking about some Bitcoin issues from the previous week. Thoughts on 9/11. We had 9/11 this week. We also had Charlie Kirk getting assassinated. Talk a little bit about that and some thoughts on the reactions to that. And really, we'll get there when we get there. And a bunch of updates from the cabin. I had a lot of help this week from my beautiful bride. So we'll talk about what we got done, what we got coming up, and how things are going. So grab your coffee, smash that like button, and let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Morning, Hunter, over on Twitch. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it as always. I leave that Twitch stream up just for you. just for Hunter. Need some coffee. Oof. Tired this morning. Good morning, Pip. Thanks for popping in. Pip down there. Good morning. Good morning, humans, coming in from Mr. Pippin. So it's been a week, guys. It's been a week. It's been definitely a whirlwind of news and events and things like that. And I was just happy to spend most of it Thursday, Friday, and Sunday out working on the cabin with Corey, and that just kind of made life better. Pip says long week for sure. Yeah, let's kind of sky high overview. We had 9/11 anniversary. I guess it was 24th anniversary this week or this year, 24 years ago. So a lot of the people that are driving social media, things like that, weren't even alive when it happened, or definitely not old enough to remember. I mean, so you got to be 5, 6, 7 years old to probably remember what happened, and even older than that to process what happened when it happened. Do they teach 9/11 in school? I don't know. I mean, when I was a kid, it hadn't happened yet. So as the time goes on away from an event, does it kind of fade just because people weren't alive? They don't know about it. I don't know. So 9/11 was this week. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. The day before that, so on 9/10, Charlie Kirk, per popular conservative talking head, I guess. I don't know, figure. I don't even know what you'd call him. I'll have to admit, I know who he was. I knew the name. I knew the face. I knew about him. I know about Turning Point. The guy's been around for about 13, was around for a decade or more. I really got into firing things up when he was 18, and from the news reports I saw, he was 31 when he died, so it was about 13 years he'd been front and center. So I mean, I will admit I know who he was and what he was about and things like that. Wasn't a fan. Not that I didn't like what he did or disagreed or agreed or anything like that. I just it wasn't my deal. I've been as much as I read and dig into a little bit of stuff political here and there, and joke about it quite a bit. I don't seek it out, and especially in video form. it's more reading. So I can't say that I was a big Charlie Kirk follower. But we'll talk about what happened with his assassination and the aftermath about that rolled out of that. Good morning, Mike's Homestead. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Pip says, are we going to get 9/11 deniers in a few years, similar to Holocaust deniers? I mean, there's a whole generation of Challenger deniers. That's already a thing. So I don't know. What percentage of the population? Here's a good question brought up by Pip's comment there. What percentage of the population needs to have not experienced an event for critical mass on the whole denier MO? I mean, we have truthers about 9/11. That happened is the second that the event occurred. Why, how it happened, but no one that was alive in 2001 is saying that those buildings didn't fall down. That I mean, some people are saying that planes didn't crash into them, or some people are saying that the planes didn't make the buildings fall down, but no one's denying that the two huge buildings fell down in New York City that day, or that a big piece of the Pentagon was rubble after. The hows, the whys, and what happened are up in question, but I don't think anybody's actually denying it. So what percentage of the population has to have not experienced that day to go, it was all made up? The whole thing was made up, like the Challenger thing that, so I was in second grade when the Challenger event happened. So, and I'm getting old as balls. So that's getting close. And we're seeing on social media a younger generation claiming that there's no way that happened, that a bunch of kids didn't watch a space shuttle explode live on TV, and then we're just told to go back to class and do their reading or whatever. Yeah, we were. Yeah, I will vouch for that one. Yep. I could tell you the teacher's name. I could tell you. Yeah, it was a big deal because I was into space. Then. So Pip brings up a good point. When will we have the 9/11 deniers? Is that for the 25th anniversary next year? And then we got to roll the week off, the beginning of the week off with some Bitcoin news, some scary Bitcoin news, and I'll start with that. We'll talk about that real quick, and then roll into that 9/11 Charlie Kirk and the cabin update. So, good morning, Rewilder Life. Thanks for swinging in. I don't know if I caught you when you popped in there or not. Kind of tired this morning, so bear with me. So Bitcoin, I believe it was on Monday. It was the 8th. So yeah, let me pull up the calendar. Monday, some reports started trickling out. I was fortunate enough to have Maria over in the Telegram chat post a video by Bitcoin Sessions, and appreciate that, Maria, and hopped right on it and started digging in and seeing what I could find out. But basically, there was an infiltration into not necessarily Bitcoin, but the wallets that manage it. So what happened was some faulty JavaScript got uploaded to the NPM ecosystem. So the node package manager ecosystem. Basically what it is described in layman terms would be the Google App Store, the Google Play Store, the Apple Store for the JavaScript that runs a lot of wallets. So all this open source code of JavaScript gets uploaded and maintained in the NPM ecosystem, which is an open source area for these functions in JavaScript that get downloaded into the wallet that perform certain actions. That's my understanding of it. If I'm way off base on that, I apologize. But from my limited coding knowledge, that's what I take that as. What ended up happening is one of the guys that maintained that package had his stuff phished, had his information phished. He reset his two-factor authentication through a phishing scam, and it provided access to some bad actors. And they uploaded some script that did some dirty stuff. Basically, what ended up happening is, in a normal Bitcoin transaction, you take your software wallet, your whatever, you have an address you want to send your Bitcoin to. You copy and paste that in. More than likely, a lot of typing them in is daunting. A lot of copy and paste, and a lot of automatic copy and paste happens in a lot of wallets now. It'll recognize the Bitcoin address in your clipboard or whatnot. So what happened here is, and from my understanding, if the wallets have been updated, it was caught very quickly, and this has been taken care of. So if your wallets are updated, if it's not on auto update, you haven't updated since last week, you might have just skipped right over this and not had a problem. But basically what happened was you would paste your the address you wanted to send your Bitcoin to into the wallet as normal. You would continue through, and depending on the wallet, had different steps that you would go through where you enter it on different screens, how much you wanted to send, and blah blah blah. And then somewhere between pasting your wallet address in and hitting confirm and signing the transaction, the send, the actual send, this JavaScript would replace the receiving address with an address going to the quote unquote hacker. So basically, you can normally, best practices, sorry, I got a message. Best practices would be that you confirm your address. So basically, you put in your receive address, you go through the motions, and then on the last screen when it says, "Are you sure?" You confirm the address. And usually, first couple of characters, last couple of characters is good. You don't really have to verify that whole string of characters. It's long. It's daunting. I mean, it takes a whole 30 seconds to confirm the whole thing. But the dirty little thing about this JavaScript that they did was they produced a huge long list of Bitcoin addresses that were tied to them. So that they were replacing with the actual receive address with an address of theirs out of this huge long list of malicious addresses, let's say. And the messed up part was the script would take your address you wanted to send to and search the list of malicious addresses, the bad actors' addresses, and find the one that was most closely mirroring it. So the most closely related address on the malicious address list, it would plug that in for the one you were sending. So you might actually verify the last couple of characters, and it might be real close to the one that you wanted to send it to, this bad address. So a sneaky, dirty pool there. So best practices, like I said, usually confirm the address, and people would really skip to just the last couple characters or the first couple characters and the last couple characters. And this kind of short-circuited that. So best practices when you are sending and receiving Bitcoin ever now, I think going forward, it would be a good idea, even though this has kind of been rectified, would be verify your addresses. I think this this was avoided. I think this got caught soon enough. From what I can find, the fallout from this, the people affected by it, the lost Bitcoin, was minimal or even negligible. I think it was found fast. The news spread fast, and people just they took care of business and they got it fixed. So new best practice, check the whole address when you're going to send something. And the other thing was, as soon as I heard this, and Bitcoin Sessions did a really good job of sending out the warning signal, but they also kind of talked about the wallets that were being affected, and Blockstream was lumped in the Jade, and the Jade Plus was lumped in the list on the initial Bitcoin Sessions video. And if you've listened to this show at all or been around for the last couple of years, I've used the Jade and now the Jade Plus as a hardware wallet. And I have contacts that I use when doing affiliate stuff, when getting new information and releases and things like that. I sent a message right out to my contact over there and said, hey, what is the message to my customers, to my listeners, to my community, the people that I've recommended the Jade and the Jade Plus to? Heard back very, very quickly. And Jade and Jade Plus were not affected by this. They do not use JavaScript in their code. Their code is open source and it doesn't use JavaScript, so this was not affected in their green wallet, or excuse me, the Blockstream app, the software wallet, used to be green. Wasn't affected. The hardware wallets were not affected. And another really nice thing about it is when you use a hardware device like Jade, when you go to verify and sign the transaction, it allows you to verify that address on the screen of the hardware device, and then that wouldn't ever be affected by, even if they did use JavaScript, and even if it was an issue in the software side of the wallet. If you were using Jade or Jade Plus, you would have seen if the address you intended to send to was matching the one on the screen of the hardware device. So I was happy. I was happy to hear that the Jade and the Jade Plus were both immune to this little bit of a hack. But always be careful. Always be careful. That's one thing about Bitcoin, and it's one thing that makes it so powerful is you're responsible for it. Man, you make a mistake, and we've known this all along the way, especially back when it was developing and best practices weren't there. You know, if you mess up, and it's gone. There's no customer service. There's no support. So you need to follow, you kind of got to know what the hell is going on, at least at a bare minimum, and just follow some standard best practices when securing your Bitcoin, when using it, when sending it, when receiving it. So check those addresses, but from what I understand, all the breached data, all the breached bad JavaScript has been removed, changed, updated, and things should be back to normal. But man, scary moment there in Bitcoin. And man, if you were using a Jade or Jade Plus, you really guess you didn't have to worry about it. So I guess that's what I'm going to tell you about the sponsor for the show is the Jade and the Jade Plus, because security is essential. And if you don't own your Bitcoin keys, you don't own your Bitcoin. That's why I use and recommend the Blockstream Jade and Jade Plus hardware wallets. Not your keys, not your coins isn't just a slogan, it's the truth. And with hardware devices like the Jade and Jade Plus, you don't have to worry about that recent JavaScript breach. Your Jade wallet keeps your sats safe and in your hands. Grab one today at store.blockstream.com. You can use code The Lots Project, LOTS, The Lots Project, to save 10%, and I earn a little bit of kickback commission on the purchase of all Jade and Jade Plus hardware wallets. So buy buy one for you and anyone you know that is in Bitcoin. So that was the hubbub on Bitcoin this week, and it was significant. It wasn't like a big nothing burger that a lot of the FUD that comes out of the space is oh wow, that wasn't really a big thing. This could have potentially been an issue, and I think just the makeup of the community and the people that kind of watchdog Bitcoin really prevented this from being something crazy, and taken care of quickly. Speaking of Bitcoin price today, we got red. I think it's down. I think we were up at 116-ish yesterday, but currently, as of September 15th, 2025, 6:17 a.m. Central Time, is price is $115,044. $115,044. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, she jumps significantly and hits that 150 by the end of September mark. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know. That was a shot in the dark and just a rough guess with no real substantial backing that I had thrown out there a couple months ago. So we'll see. It is what it is. Let's move on. So 9/11 was this week. September 11th. So September 11th, 2001, when all that went down, I know everybody that was alive, everybody that experienced that event, they say it was like the JFK moment of that generation, that everybody remembers where they were when 9/11 happened. Do you remember where you were? I think do you remember? So locally here we have Daryl Worley, and I've talked about him, country singer that definitely made his bucks and staked to fame with a post 9/11 song. Corey and I were talking about it this weekend. That seemed like everybody had that post 9/11 song. I remember where I was when it happened, and actually, when it was occurring, I was working. I was in 2021 or in 2001. I was I've been 23 years old. 23. Yeah, I think 23. I was working at a factory setting. We had the radio on. We were listening to something, some shock jock-esque show that was known for playing pranks and doing radio stunts and blah 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 and all this. And for quite a while, listening to what was going on, it was so surreal and so absurd that we were really under the impression that it was a prank. We just kept working. We were listening. I'll admit it. We were laughing. We were joking around for a couple of hours, really, until we went to break and made some phone calls and was like finding out that this was real and it was actually happening. And boss came in. They shut down for the day. We went home for lunch and really didn't come back to work. And most people were glued to their TV and finding out what happened and what was going on. What was being told happened. So Pip says was working at a different dealership watching the news in the customer lounge. Yeah, so that was my experience with 9/11. I was actually living in New York. I was about 4 or 5 hours outside New York City, so not really close, but definitely in New York. And recently, or pretty quickly after that, moved to Minnesota. Not because of 9/11. It was funny. I was telling Corey that when I moved to Minnesota, the fall of 2001, and people would ask like, where are you from? People uh people were telling, or were always like, oh, did you move here because of 9/11? No, 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 no. But anyway, that was 24 years ago. And seeing over the years the way it was has been memorialized every year, and less attention being paid to it. This year there was a little something that happened the day before that got a segment of the society wound up and distracted. But I kind of I was watching around on 9/11 to see what was going on. And it really, from my observation and wading through the Charlie Kirk nonsense and mess that was going on social media after that happened on the 10th, 9/11 really took a back seat. One thing really stood out, and Corey yesterday um ended up ended up reminding me of it. So Rue Wilder life says a guy I knew from a graduating class died. He worked in financials. I actually had a friend whose uncle was in there, and he ended up being quite a popular, I guess is the word, popular story from the whole event. Not going to get into that now, but it was interesting to to see how that went down and how the family dealt with that. So I'm not surprised, being that close, that somebody, I guess, couple circles out, a friend's uncle, I guess, is what it was, and probably more, that I just didn't even know about. But anyway, I was looking around on socials on the actual 9 on September 11th, and didn't see a whole lot. Didn't see the mass postings of never forget and the things you usually see. The things you never, the things you see every year on this event. It was more clogged with the more pressing news of the day before. But I did see that there was one gentleman here locally who was commemorating and raising awareness for 9/11 is how it was put. But a local fireman from Adamsville, here kind of close, the Buford Puser home, that was in the news recently, he was walking across Adamsville. I was like, okay, let me hear a little bit more. So I guess the guy, he was a pretty big dude, from the looks of it, was walking from one side of Adamsville to the other, and I don't know exactly how far this is. I'm guessing it's maybe a dozen miles or more. Really depends on what they were considering the Adamsville. I guess it could have been up to be like 20-30 miles, I guess. But he was walking it in his full turnout, his full firefighter turnout, his jacket, the pants, the all the gear, the helmet, and he was carrying an American flag over his shoulder. Had a small fire engine behind him as he walked through town. And I saw this early on September 11th, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I mean, the fact that they put in there that they're raising awareness of 9/11, I was like, kind of stumped on that one. But then with the thoughts from earlier in the show, maybe people, maybe there's a lot of people that need awareness 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 raised of what happened. I wouldn't think so quite yet. But I thought that was a kind of an interesting way to put it. It's always like when they have breast cancer awareness month. And I'm like, it's a horrible thing, but I'm pretty sure we all know about it. We've been raising money. We've been doing the pink thing for dozens and dozens of years now. I think we can move on from the raising awareness message, and let's just say that we're trying to find a cure for it or whatever. But I think we're all aware of it. So he was raising awareness for 9/11. I don't know if he was raising money, what the rest of the deal was. It wasn't really well covered. But I just in passing, I saw it. I saw a few other small memorial stuff on social media, but not a whole lot. Like I said, my shit was jammed packed full of Charlie Kirk from both sides, from the right and the left. But then yesterday, I think it was yesterday morning or the morning before, Saturday, Sunday morning, Corey and I were sitting having coffee, and she's like, "Did you see this?" It was like, whoa. She shows me her phone, and it was the guy from Adamsville. His name was Moose, actually. He was walking through Adamsville in his turnout, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I saw that." And she's like, "Did you see the crowd that turned out?" And I was like, "No, I hadn't noticed." And so she shows me her phone, and I grab her phone, and he's walking along the street, and all of a sudden you see people. So this camera angle is coming from behind the crowd as he was walking by, and it was like 4 women standing on the sidewalk in their American flag shirts. And I don't know if they coordinated this together or not. If they went to support him at a certain point, I don't know if there was other pockets of supporters throughout the rest of his walk or what this was. But the video tried to portray this as the crowd supporting him, and it was like 4 people. I felt bad for the guy, really. I hope he raised more awareness, or he had a little bit more support than that. But 4 ladies, and one was covering her heart or more, covering their heart like they were saying the pledge as he was walking by with the flag. And it made me I don't know. I kind of I chuckled a little bit at it, and then I also tried to wrap my head around the change that's happened in our country, and really in relation to the news that was gobbling it all up and covering up 9/11. I saw the quote in response to the Charlie Kirk assassination in regards to the 9/11, and it said something like, and I don't even know who said it. It would have been one of my friends. It could have been a talking head. It could have been a commentator here, there, or the other thing. But it said, if 9/11 happened today, half the country would be happy and cheering. And seeing the 4 women on the sidewalk supporting the guy doing something for 9/11, and one or a couple of them with their hand over their heart as he walked by with the flag, it made me remember when that was a thing. That if it had been 2002 and he had been walking, the streets would have been lined, and everybody would have been waving flags, covering their heart, participating, having a moment of silence or whatnot. Before 9/11, the patriotism, the blind patriotism, I guess, even. But I don't think it was a bad thing. I think it united a country that right now is super divided. I think those 4 ladies standing on the sidewalk are a distant memory of what used to happen in this country. And I'm not saying it was good, bad, or indifferent, just it's changed. It's changed. So 9/11 came and passed. Nothing big. Nothing, not a big, I don't want to say celebration, not a big observance. Next year is the 25th anniversary. I'm curious to see if that's rolled out as a memorial benchmark, and if anything big observances and things happen. But it was kind of overshadowed this year by what happened the day before, and we'll talk about that now. Charlie Kirk, I don't know if you're listening right now, you're listening after the fact of the recorded. You probably know the name. Maybe not. Been around, like I said earlier, for about 13. Was around 13. I think 18 was when he really popped onto the scene. He was pretty active in his youth. So the name's been floating around. You've probably seen clips of him. If you don't know who he is, you've probably seen clips of him and you didn't realize it. He was definitely conservative, right winger. Now, what that means and what's being portrayed in social media, depending on what angle you're looking at it from, could mean anywhere from a Nazi to just a conservative, wholesome guy. One thing I do know about him is he was open to discussion. He didn't scream at people. He his booth that he was his final discussion, his booth, his hook was change my mind, prove me wrong, I believe. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't really watch. I didn't really pay attention to that whole narrative, the whole thing. I just know that he had conversations with folks, and I had seen clips here and there. Rational discussions. It when you would see him speak and have a discussion with someone, you could see him actively listening. He wasn't just waiting to shout back, and have an intellectual discussion with people that he doesn't agree with. And I also remembered that. Pip says Charlie Kirk and Steven Crowder get confused a bit. Yeah. Louder with Crowder would be the opposite. But kind of tying into the 9/11 and how that's changed, how the attitude in the country has changed. People used to have discussions with other people. You were allowed to think differently, or maybe you didn't have discussions. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, you talked about everything except religion and politics. Maybe there was a good reason for that. maybe they were on to something. But even when you did discuss it, there wasn't the vitriol and the hate and the automatic division. And I think a lot of that's on purpose. A lot of that has been spurred, has been pushed along, has been it's a long road to go down and talk about that. But people don't have conversations anymore, and I think Charlie Kirk was someone that was willing to have conversations. I don't think he was going to change his mind. I think he was very well versed, and I think he believed what he believed, and he knew how to articulate what he believed. But he was willing to hear your side. Pip says insta hate. Yeah. You're a Nazi. Wait, what? Huh? I think words have changed meaning. I think words have lost meaning. Rewilder Life says, is free speech going to die out of fear or other reasons? I think free speech is probably dead. I was really actually disappointed after the whole thing happened. Tragedy. A tragedy. I think a lot of people spun out way more than an appropriate response to what happened. Now, I don't want to sound insensitive. I feel bad for his wife and his kids. The guy was murdered in front of them. People, I saw a lot of people reacting that I don't even know, like, were they watching this guy 24/7? Were they part of his team? Like, were they related to him? The visceral reaction of oh my god, it was like they lost their father or their brother or their child. I don't know. maybe there were people that maybe there were people that were that obsessed with him that their reaction and their defense of him, when someone would say something negative, when someone would celebrate his death. Now, do I think celebrating someone's death is appropriate? Absolutely not. Is it something that I would do? No. Do I think any decent human being would celebrate the death of another human being, regardless of their political affiliation, what they thought, or what they do? No, I think that's an absolutely abhorrent response. But I'm pretty sure they're allowed to have it. What was that whole thing? Protecting free speech. Free speech is even the stuff you don't like. Wilder Life says something that I definitely agree. She says, I think a lot of it was how he was killed and the death being so public. I mean, the videos were pretty graphic, so I think it stirred up more than usual response. Yeah, oh, for sure. For sure. And that's maybe the point. That maybe was the point. But when you stop and think about what happened, not necessarily how it happened, in reality, a political figure was assassinated. It happens. It happens. Did you guys know that a Ukrainian girl got stabbed in the neck on a subway car? You believe that? Did you hear that? How long after it happened was it before you heard about that story? Because that video was pretty graphic too. Nobody gave a shit. But the response to the Charlie Kirk thing, instant. I think we were seeing a perfect storm of misinformation, of the internet doing its internet things, of fake analysis, of people talking about this shit that had no idea what they were talking about, forming opinions, forming theories, and people running with them as they are truth, which whatever narrative you were looking for and whatever narrative you found, you could run with. I don't know if anybody actually knows what happened. I think everybody kind of that has seen the story or thought about it all has an opinion on what happened. But who killed him? I see they had an old guy on the ground within seconds, and that was the narrative that they had the suspect in custody. Then there was a different suspect that now I think they have him in custody. There's questions on if he was the actually the person that did it. I think this is another thing where you never know what actually happened, and the track record of both events like this without social media, without citizen journalists, without that being a good and a bad thing, citizens journalists that actually do a good job and investigate, tell actual facts or different viewpoints, or the people just spreading their crazy theories with no basis, no fact, and people taking it as truth and running with it. I think this just makes this a perfect storm for just an absolute shit show. And then add in the people that are celebrating the death of a person because of who he was and what they felt he stood for, or their personal disdain for him because of what he believed in, and their need to publicize their joy that the man had been killed. And I think as soon as that starts happening, there's a bandwagon effect. If you look at social media and you look how it's set up, and if you've seen the Social Network, I believe was the movie about the Facebook logarithms and how they're designed to irritate, agitate, to get you engaged. So basically it ends up with you living in an echo chamber of a lot of things that are riling you up, that you also agree with, or that are counterpoint to what you agree with. I think you were basically fed fodder to be more involved in this. When one person said, "Yay, I'm glad he was shot," that was funneled into the feeds of people thinking the same thing, as disgusting as it is. Right wing, left wing, or either. And the spiral effect of people jumping on. Then that being fed into the feeds of people that are angered and upset and saddened that someone they agreed with was shot and someone also died. They're seeing this and they're upset and outraged now that someone was happy that someone that they were upset with died. So they got angry and started pushing back, which was fed into the feeds of other people that were also angry that someone died. And it said, hey, there's people out there celebrating this. So they went and looked and they found more. And it just spiraled. It spiraled. Oh, John Palmer says that the movie was The Social Dilemma. That's it. That movie was actually pretty decent. But I think this was a perfect storm, and I don't think it has shaken out yet. I think there's more of this to come. And it was pretty gross to watch, all in all. all in all, somebody died. And like I said, I didn't really have an opinion either way of the man. He was doing what he loved, and I think he was genuine in wanting to have discussions with people and have debates with them, and I think he was understanding of people that disagreed with him, and he agreed to disagree with them. I could be totally wrong on that. Like I said, I know of the name, I know who he was. I was not a fan one way or the other. So I think this has a lot more. This isn't over. This isn't over. Pip says, I dig the websites that shows people social media posts celebrating his death, and they are getting fired. Yeah, I mean, a business has the right to fire anybody they want, and if they think that that they don't want to have a person who celebrates the death of a human being on their payroll, they have every right to fire them. They also have every right not to. Maybe they believe that too. That's why they have a business. But it's interesting to watch it come full circle with the whole cancel culture. So a lot of things disappeared out of the news though with the shooting of Charlie Kirk, which brings up questions on why, how it happened, or what the motives were, or who actually did it. What was going on September 9th, 2025? What were some things in the news? Do you remember? Do you remember? Uh-huh. Just like trillions of dollars back in 2001 on September 10th. What was going on September 10th, September 9th, before the social media and the news cycle was absolutely blown up? Oh, Pip says the Epstein list got blocked 3 hours before Charlie was assassinated. Huh. I believe there were quite a few things. I think the National Guard was headed to Chicago. There was quite a few things, and that's probably for a different day, because I want to move on. That was just some food for thought. Wilder Life says it was a 22-year-old kid. You don't believe it? I believe that about as much as that kid the patsy for the Trump shooting. that all went down that way. Yeah. That was just some food for thought, guys. It was just kind of a rambling mess, but it is what it is. It is a mess. The whole thing is a mess. So focus on what you got going on, and what you're building, and things like that. It's kind of the people that listen to this show or in this community are doers, and this stuff is just static noise on the outside. Be aware of it, know what's happening, do what you got to do, but focus on the shit that you're doing. And one thing we're doing, Corey and I are building the cabin, and we did get a lot of progress on that this weekend. Corey is pretty consistently over the years takes a lot of her vacation in the fall. Back when we were on the farm, she used to take it to harvest the garden, put the garden to bed, kind of get ready for Minnesota winter and things like that. And she continued that pattern. We got some guests coming to stay in a week or so here. We got some events this fall, but she started taking her vacation, and she was off Thursday, Friday from work, and then Saturday and Sunday off. And so we got a lot of work done on the cabin. When it's two of us out there, it goes a lot quicker. Obviously, you got two hands and can do a lot more with those hands and the help. We spent Thursday and Friday out at the property. We did our normal Saturday routine with getting groceries and things like that, and then we made a trip back out on Sunday morning to do some stuff. Basically, we got our hangers and beams set up in between the posts on the long sides of our cabins. on the long sides of the cabin. These are going to be where our floor joists attach to. Basically 2-ply 2x12 girders and hangers on the posts is what we were doing. So basically hanging the hangers, getting measurements, cutting a couple 2x12s and laminating them together with construction adhesive and screws, and then installing them into the hangers. And this is going to be the rail which our floor joists attach to on one end. And the next step we have is to build a big beam that goes down the center that the other side of the floor joist will attach to. So we only have to have 12-foot spans on our floor joists instead of 24-foot spans. So we got all set up for that. We got it accomplished. We were excited with the progress we made. It took a little bit of messing around with the hangers, trying to get a good system going between the two of us, and how to hold things and line things up. And once we did, we kind of rocked through those. Same thing with making the beams. And I got a lot of research done on putting this longer beam together. So a 35-foot beam, I'm going to be making it out of multiple shorter pieces and kind of overlapping and laminating them together. So we got all that done, and it felt good. Like visually, we're seeing progress. Things are happening, more than just research, more than just ordering material, blah, 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 all that. Things are taking shape. It was almost the feeling like when the roof went up and it went from just being a dirt square to actually having a structure there. It was like, wow, holy crap. That's a lot of change. Now that we're getting these beams in, a lot of change. And so coming up this week, I'll have a couple days to work on things by myself. Got to get the everything cleared out. When I poured the piers that are going to support the beam down the middle, had to dig out a lot of dirt, so I have to finish getting that shoveled out. I have to kind of grade off the piers and get the post brackets set on the threaded rods that I sunk into the piers when I poured them. Get those all set and get the post up. Once I do that, I'll be able to run a string line across them and get them cut off to the right height to support the beam. And then I'm going to start making the beam. Corey's off again this week on Thursday and Friday again. And like I said, we had guests coming on Monday, I believe, a week from today. For a week, both will be helping out at the property and also on a vacation. So we're not going to put them to work the whole time, but I'm sure they'll enjoy coming out and helping a little bit. So basically, we're going to laminate that large, long beam, get that installed, and then it'll be hanging all the joists and getting the subfloor on. Those are the next steps. And I kind of hoped for by the end of September to have all that subfloor on and moving on to the next phase. And as of right now, I think we could hit it. Really depends on how much time we put into it when our guests are here, and then how quickly we get back and how much help we have moving forward for the last couple weeks of the month. So lots of shake up with plans towards around SRF and things going on with that. So it's kind of hazy what's going to be happening that last week of September and into the first week of October. So we will see. So hopefully have that floor on soon. Already starting the planning of the next phase, which will be windows, doors, and framing out the outsides, getting the purlins hung up on the outside of the posts and getting the metal siding on. Excuse me, alarm going off. Getting the siding on, metal siding on, and then it'll be enclosed, which will be the big step before trying to get it winter ready. So got a lot going on, got a lot of progress. let's see. I did have another product I wanted to tell you guys about today. Zoo Fly pants. I've been testing out. I got them as a product sample through Amazon. Zoo Fly cargo work pants. These things are really lightweight. They're almost like a nylon spandex blend. They're stretchy. They're light, super lightweight, water resistant, stain resistant. Have tear stop and a bunch of cargo pockets. One. I will tell you the bad things about them. The only thing bad about these pants that I've noticed is they only have one back pocket. And I'm so used to taking my phone in my left hand and sliding it in my back pocket. There's no pocket on the left side of these pants, so I'm constantly having to throw it into my right hand and put it in my right back pocket. Deal breaker with them? No, they're super comfortable, lightweight. I've enjoyed wearing them. Tons of pockets, zippers, and things like that for holding all my crap. I'm gonna put the link right in the comments, and it'll also be in the video description, the audio description. But the Zoo Fly cargo pants, I definitely recommend. I'm thinking about picking up a couple more pairs, and they're like $40 or $50. It's a great deal for pants. I think they're gonna last. I've been trying to beat them up pretty hard, and they've been holding up. So. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot. A bunch of jumbled thoughts today about 9/11, Charlie Kirk, and a little info on the Bitcoin JavaScript breach. So I hope you enjoyed the show, guys. If you wanted to catch up during the week, definitely head on over to the Telegram chat at t.me/LotsChat. That's t.me/LotsChat. Great group of people there, and we have a lot of great discussions. So check that out if you're on Telegram. If you're not, download it and give it a shot. Nice little app that we use to keep in contact. Other than that, you can go to thelotsproject.com and check out all the stuff there. It can help support the show by clicking on the shopping on Amazon button. If you happen to be shopping on Amazon, check out all the video reviews and things like that. I appreciate all of that. Other than that, make it a great week, guys, and we will catch up with you again next Monday.